Hi all, this is Gokul from Great Value Academy. As we have understood the concept, now we shall step into the problems. As the problem goes like this, kindly refer the problem in the display. Following is the income and payment account of an Indian sports club. Prepare income and expenditure account and balance sheet as on 31st December 2006. Receipts and payment account for the year ending 31 December 2006. Receipts, amount, payment and amount. Balance brought down 7,890, subscription 52,000, life membership fees 3,450, entrance fees 3,200, tournament fund 26,000, locker rent 1,250, sale of sports goods costing rupees 2,200, 1,250, sale of newspapers 750, legacy 37,500. And at the payment side, salaries 11,000, electricity charge 5,500, billiards table 17,500, office expense 4,100, stationery 2,300, tournament expenses 18,500, repairs to ground 2,000, furniture purchase 7,700, sports equipments 12,000, cash in hand 12,690, cash at bank 10,000, fixed deposit on 1/10/2006 for 10% per annum 30,000. The total of the receipts and payment account comes to 1,33,290. The other informations are subscription outstanding was on 31st December 2005 rupees 1200 and 3000 on 31st December 2006. Locker rent outstanding on 31st December 2006 amounting to rupees 250 and salary outstanding on 31st December 2006 amounting to rupees 1000. On 1st January 2006, the club has a building of rupees 36,000, furniture at 12,000, sports equipment 17,500, depreciation charge on these items at 10% including the purchase. Now we shall see how to proceed with these problems. So in the above discussed question, they have given the receipts and payment account and the adjustments. With that, we need to proceed to the income and expenditure account and the closing balance sheet. The first step would be to prepare an income and expenditure account. So, from the receipts and payment account, we need to consider only the transactions which are of the revenue in nature. That is, recurring transaction has to be only considered in the income and expenditure account. So, as per the receipts, they have given the opening balance, which will be coming in the opening balance sheet. Subscription they have given for the 52,000. The whole 52,000 will not be considered in the receipts and payment account as there is an adjustment given. There is an opening outstanding as well as a closing outstanding. So we need to subtract the opening outstanding and add the closing outstanding, which amounts to. And the next thing is the life membership fees. Life membership fees should always be capitalized, so it need to be shown in the closing balance sheet of the current year. And the next part is the entrance fees. If nothing is given up with entrance fees, then it has to be shown in the credit side of the income and expenditure account. And the next thing given in the receipt side is the tournament fund. If tournament fund is given and the corresponding tournament expenditure is given, that needs to be adjusted and shown in the closing balance sheet and not in the income and expenditure account. Then the next point is the locker rent. For locker rent, there is an adjustment that needs to be adjusted in the current year. And the outstanding locker rent needs to be added. And the next point is the sale of the sports goods costing rupees 2200. The goods worth rupees 2200 is being sold for 1250. There is a loss of 950. A sale of old newspaper. Sale of newspaper is considered as a periodic, as the periodic sale is an recurring in nature, so it will be accounted in the credit side of the income and expenditure account. The next point is a legacy. There is no hard and fast rule to deal the legacy. As the legacy amount is 37,500, I'm just going to capitalize this and show in the closing balance sheet. Let's come to the payment side. In payment side, the first point is the salary. The salary is amounting to 11,000 and there is an adjustment 1000 rupees. So the outstanding salary for the current year has to be added with the actual salary paid. The next point is electrical charge. As there is no adjustment for the electrical charge, the whole thing needs to be debited in the income and expenditure account. The next point is the billiards table. As the billiards table is an asset, it needs to be shown in the closing balance sheet, the asset side. The next point is the office expense. As office expense is recurring in nature, we need to show in the debit side of the income and expenditure account. The next point is the printing and stationery. As the printing and stationery is also an recurring in nature, it needs to be debited in the income and expenditure account. The next point is the tournament expense. As I already said you that if there is a tournament expense and the tournament fund, it needs to be adjusted and shown in the closing balance sheet. The next point is the repair of the ground. As the repair of the ground is a recurring expenditure, this needs to be shown in the debit side of the income and expenditure account. The next point is the furniture purchase. As furniture is an asset, all the cash transaction relating to the revenue nature and the capital nature will be shown in the receipts and payment account. But while preparing the income and expenditure account, we should take only the transaction relating to the revenue in nature. Therefore, the furniture is an asset which is a capital nature, so that it will be shown in the closing balance sheet asset side. And the sports equipment is also the same kind. And the closing cash balance will be shown in the closing balance sheet of the current year. And in the income and expenditure account, we need to debit the depreciation for the assets which are being already there in the business. In the discussed question, the depreciation is to be charged as 10% per annum. So we shall calculate the depreciation now. There is an opening value of building of rupees 36,000. On the 36,000, we need to calculate 10% of the depreciation. There is a furniture of value 12,000 and also there is a purchase of 7,700. In the question, they have clearly mentioned that including the purchase, the depreciation should be charged. Therefore, 12,000 plus 7,700 comes to 19,700 on which the 10% depreciation would be charged. And the last point would be the sports equipments amounting to 17,500. While considering the sports equipment, there is a purchase of sports equipments as well as the sale of the sports equipment. So there is a calculation which requires to be done. Depreciation would be 2,730 on the sports equipments. And the last point given in the receipts and payment account is the fixed deposit. Like they are in the organization is investing in the fixed deposit on 1/10/2006, and our books of accounts has been closing on 31/12/2006. Therefore, for the period of 3 months, there is a need for us to calculate the interest portion because we are following the accrual basis concept. Therefore, anything which is received or not to be accounted in the books. Therefore, our interest will be 30,000 into 3 by 12 into 10 by 100 amounts to 750. That is, we are calculating the interest for the 3 months. There is a surplus amounting to 25,050 rupees. This will be added to the capital in the current year closing balance sheet. The next step is to prepare the opening balance sheet in order to find the opening capital. So, by preparing the opening balance sheet, the first point that we need to consider is the two balance carried down the receipts and payment account, which is the cash balance in the opening balance sheet, amounts to 7,890. And the adjustment given in the question is like there is an opening balance of the building, furniture, the sports equipments that needs to be accounted here. For the previous year, there is an outstanding subscription. So the previous year outstanding subscription will be received in the current year. Therefore, in the current year, we are deducting the previous year outstanding subscription. Therefore, the previous year outstanding subscription will be shown in the opening balance sheet. Since all the item relating to the balance sheet has been entered, now we need to find the difference between the asset and the liability, which will be the balancing figure and the capital. So there is a balance difference of 74,590 and this will be the opening capital balance. This needs to be taken to the closing balance sheet and the following adjustments are to be made in order to derive the closing capital balance. The next step is to prepare the closing balance sheet. This is the final step. So the final step is to prepare the closing balance sheet. As in the opening balance sheet, we have calculated the capital amount that needs to be started with, making all the adjustments to as to derive the closing capital. So we have found the surplus of 25,050 rupees, which will be added. The next point is the life membership fees. As I already said you that life membership fees needs to be capitalized. It will be shown in the liability side of the current year balance sheet. And the next one would be the legacy. As the legacy amount is huge, it also will be shown in the liability side of the current year balance sheet. And coming to the asset side, the first thing we need to do is from the receipt and payment account, we need to take the total cash balance and input. In the payment side, they have purchased the billiards table. As the billiards table is an asset, it will be shown in the asset side of the current year balance sheet. And the next is the furniture purchase. As there is a furniture opening balance as well as the purchase, and we need to deduct the depreciation to arrive at the closing balance. And the next thing is the sports equipments. As in the sports equipment, there is an opening balance, purchases and the sales, and also the depreciation. We need to make the necessary adjustments so as to arrive the closing balance. The next point is already we have the opening balance of depreciation and the current year we have charged depreciation. So in order to find the closing balance, we need to subtract the depreciation from the opening balance. And there is a fixed deposit rupees 30,000 in the payment side. As fixed deposit, it needs to be shown in the asset side of the current year balance sheet. There is an accrued interest on the investment, so that needs to be added with the investment, that is the fixed deposit. And for the current month, there is an outstanding subscription and outstanding locker rent, that is, which we have the obligation to receive, therefore, it is an asset. And there is an outstanding salary amounting to 1000 for the current year, which is a liability on our part to pay. Therefore, it will be shown in the liability side. And finally, we have left with the one more point, that is the tournament fund and the tournament expenditure. In the tournament fund, there is an amount of 26,000, and in the tournament expense amounted to 18,500. So for this, all the adjustments are over. Now we need to total the balance sheet. With this, our balance sheet total is 1,49,090 and both the asset side and liability side totals are matching, therefore our answer is correct.